Welcome to the Digital How-To series. Today I'm going to explain to you how to create a Google Display Network campaign. So in this case, I'm in the Google Ads platform in the algorithm account, and I can hit this blue plus button that you'll always see, so add a new campaign. And pretty much the same process as setting up any campaign in this platform. So firstly, it's asking my objective. So let's assume I want to go after people looking for conversion rate optimization services on the algorithm website. So basically sending people to this page, explaining how we do conversion rate optimization, with the hope that someone then goes to the contact form and submits an inquiry. So we've hit the new campaign button and it's asking our objective. So our objective is leads, i.e. people completing that inquiry form, having looked at the conversion rate optimization services page. It's then asking what type of campaign we wish to create. So in this case, it's a display campaign. We have the option here now between standard display or smart display. Smart display basically will look at the URL that you are wanting to go after and then dynamically create ads and serve content to relevant audiences based on the URL that you enter. In this case, it would be this page, and that's how you would create a dynamic campaign. Google does all the heavy lifting there and does the targeting for you. So in this example, let's just go for a standard display campaign where you've got more control over the optimization and targeting settings that you want to go after. So now it's asking, how do you want to reach your goal? So in this case, we want people to visit this page. The platform quickly just scans that page. We hit continue. Asks us for a name. So I'm going to call this GDN CRO services. Again, it's asking me now, do I want to go after the country or do I want to put in specifics? So just for example purposes, let's just go after Johannesburg as a city. As I said before, you can include, exclude, you can go after regions, cities, or even countries. And then it's going to ask me how I want to bid. This campaign's been running before, so it's actually suggesting a target cost per acquisition, which I explained in another how-to series. So let's assume we don't have any other optimization recommendations to go for. So you could choose clicks. We're going to go for target cost per acquisition, and it's asking us and suggesting what that target cost per acquisition should be. I normally just go slightly higher than the amount that it suggests, so I'm going to go for 55. It then asks you if you want to pay for clicks or do you want to actually pay for conversions. That's your choice. Sometimes if Google can't get conversions, the campaign might not do very much. So normally I would start by selecting clicks or impressions and then actually switch to automated target cost per acquisition bidding later. But that's entirely your choice. Then it's going to ask me how much I want to spend per day. So for demo purposes, I'm going to put 100 Rand. Again, that's entirely your choice, and there's no right answer or wrong answer. It's going to ask for a name of the ad group, so I'm just going to call it the same thing again, GDN CRO services, whatever name makes sense to you. And then Google's basically going to give you the ability to choose different audience types. So when you go to the browse section, you'll see you can either go for demographics, so parental status, marital status, home ownership status as examples. Obviously those categories are very, very broad. We then have slightly less broad but still very broad audiences based on Google's search behavior to say what people are interested in. So it could be banking and finance, and then there'll be a bunch of different subtopics underneath those categories. Again, these are still very broad, which is why they're called affinity. And then this is where it starts to become a bit more meaningful and useful. So what people are actively researching or planning. So in this case, they have a thing called in-market audiences, meaning that those people Google can identify from their search behavior that they are actively researching a potential service, product, or topic. So in this case, if I just expand business services, for example, we've then got a bunch of subtopics. So advertising and marketing services, let's expand that one. We've then got a specific topic, SEO and search engine marketing services, which is pretty specific. So I'm going to choose that one. But you get the idea. It's just a case of going through each of the broad categories, drilling down, and then selecting the audience that's most relevant to your service. So in this case, I've already selected the in-market audience for people looking for SEO and SEM services. You also then have the ability to select how they've interacted with your business. So if you have Google Analytics set up and linked to your account, you then might see a bunch of different audiences from analytics. So in this case, I can go after CRO users specifically. So that would be people who have looked at this page specifically in the last 30 days or even longer period if you want to define a longer period. Now on the right hand side, as you select more and more audiences, it then tells you the available impressions in any given weekly period, and then tells you roughly how many clicks you can expect based on your bid or your previous campaign performance. You also have the ability to include or exclude certain demographics. You'll notice in different countries, different things show. So in South Africa, there is no Google household income, so this is grayed out. But in this case, I don't really want to go for people under the age of 24. They're unlikely to be in a job where they're going to make a decision. And conversely, I want to take out the older age bracket, again, maybe less likely to be working and looking for CRO services. But again, all of these things are subjective and your choice. Then you get the ability to kind of expand how aggressive you want to be in terms of reach. By default, Google kind of sets it to, 1 out of 5. My recommendation is that you stick with what Google suggests. If you expand the reach, you're going to reach more people, but you're going to spend more and potentially to a slightly less targeted audience. So rather go with the default. Then it's going to ask you to create the ad that displays against the audience that you've gone after. So imagine you're going after these audiences, i.e. in this case, people looking for SEO and SEM services and people that have looked at our CRO page before. And then it's going to serve an ad to those people in different formats, which is why it's called a Google responsive display ad. Just to give you an idea of what they look like, this is an example here where you've got a background image, a logo, a short headline, a description, and then a kind of call to action button. So what it's going to do is ask me to build that ad unit. So the first thing it's asking for is where do you want to land the traffic? So in this case, that's the correct page. Then it asks if you want to add images and logos. What it does is scans your website and social properties to try and suggest images that you could use that you're already using, or you have the ability to hit the upload button and upload a specific creative. In this case, it makes sense to go something that speaks to conversion rate optimization. So now it knows that this is an image. I can choose where I want to crop that image in different sizes. There's a square or there's a landscape. So just select the area on the images that you want and select those ratios. But it's also looking for a logo as well. So I need to find a square logo, so I'll have that one. And I also need a landscape logo. So I will have this one. You get the idea. You just drag that across and select the right logo. Once you've selected the images, and you can have multiple images on one ad unit, if you just hit save, one of these images it doesn't like. Let's just find out which one it is. This one's okay. This one doesn't meet the requirements, so let's just get rid of that guy just for the purposes of the demo. And another one it doesn't like either. Why does it not like this one? This one's okay. This one is okay. But we've still got an error. Let's just start again quickly. It's actually easier for demo purposes to show you again anyway. So let's take this image, crop it, save that. And then you'll see that the ad preview tool on the right here starts to build. So you have the ability to switch between the different formats. Now you can see the ads being pulled in. It's got a auto-suggested headline and description. So these are the ads that would display in different formats depending on where that user is consuming the advert. As described before, Google's getting pretty good at dynamically suggesting headlines. You can have up to 5 headlines, so either use the ones that Google has suggested or define your own. And then the same thing with a long headline. So sometimes a long headline will display rather than a short headline. You then also have descriptions, again up to 5 that you can add. Pretty much the guide here is the more you add, the better. Google's going to optimize and show the one that gets the best interaction. So rather put more in than less so that Google has more to optimize against. And then just put in your business name. Just check that you're happy with the ad format. So pretty much scroll through and just check that you're happy with the different variations that exist. You might need to kind of toggle through here using these selectors to see them all. I'm generally happy with this. Obviously I'd take more time if it wasn't for demo purposes. I can then just hit create campaign. Google's then going to just confirm what settings I've applied, continue to the campaign. This ad will then go into a review process. Typically takes anywhere between 4 hours and 24 hours. At very, very busy times, it can take 48 hours, i.e., Cyber Monday, Black Friday, those types of peak campaign periods. But Google are just going to check that there's no false claims or false promises or anti-competitive messages being used in that ad unit. And they're also just going to check that those images don't contain anything that's controversial, i.e. pornography, political content. And that's how easy it is to create a Google responsive display, or otherwise known as a Google GDN ad.